Yes! I made a bunch of games for some classes too, even if it was not really a game design university. Wait, now I realize you went to a game design classes. Congratulations! I would enjoy them a lot. So, congratulations! It's something I always dreamed of doing. I went to even if I went to a university that has just 1 or 2 courses about that, so that's something at least. Yes, like I did like 4 projects for games, even if none of them are really published, because they are way less polished than this one. The first one was a very bad clone of Super Mario, made with JavaScript on a browser, like in the first year of university, so it was pretty... It was a big hassle to program because I had to program Super Mario from scratch. Like, all the collisions, I had to program them. It was very buggy because you easily compenetrate into anything. And don't get me started on collisions to kill enemies, like Super Mario. Programming the direction and the hitbox wasn't the simplest tasks. Also, I just started using JavaScript, so it wasn't the best game to start JavaScript with. But at the end it was fun. I don't know if I still have it. At university I studied technological communication and no. It's a complex name. Communication technologies and yeah, a mix between programming, media and cinema. Mostly in the first part it's in the first 3 years it's the cinema, then it disappears, kinda. The bachelor degree, the cinema disappears. Luckily, because not really my thing, even if I do some videos. Yes. I went there to the university because I liked programming, but I didn't really like... I didn't really like the aspect of engineering and the stuff. Because when I tried an engineering course from the pure informatic course, I got destroyed at the final exam. Destroyed! Destroyed like I took... My final score was 4 out of 30. 4! Or no, wait, maybe 2 it was? Or 2 or 4 out of 30. Just the lowest score I could even imagine. So that's why I stick to programming. I don't want logistic and... I don't want the theory behind everything, I just want to program, okay? I had some choices in the university career, and I of course choose the programming one. There was... for the last project I did a game which I'm decently proud of, but it's very unpolished. About a game about... The theme of the project was some sort of lights and shadows. It's a project about... on Unity, but it's very, very rough. About avoiding projecting the shadow on an enemy. I never do 3D games, that's why it was very pretty annoying to program. That's why I will never touch Unity or 3D again for a while. I stick to 2D, okay. And RPG Maker. Had to learn Unreal Engine. The university I went had not a course, it was more like a day sponsored by Azure, where they talked about game development. It's more like a lecture, extracurricular lecture, which of course I went to. It was pretty fun. They talked about Unreal Engine and talked how it worked. I completely forgot, but it was pretty cool. Though not the best game engine for solo developers. Also because the projects like wait a lot. So not the best choice, I would say. I will stick to RPG Maker. They had Unity classes in first year, but they cancelled it, so it's all Unreal. No, that sucks. Unity, I like Unity way more. For, well, many one reason. It's the projects don't wait a lot. And since each IO has the limit of 1 gigabyte to for every game maybe, it's kinda annoying to have them playable. I don't even know if you can play real games on the browser. Unity for sure. I don't know about the rest. Godot is superior. I never tried Godot. I should. I want to make like a stream of trying to use Godot because feel like the closest solo developers friendly engine after RPG Maker. RPG Maker is just the peak of solo developer engine. You have everything ready. Has a lot of limitations, but I don't care. I deal with what I have. Even if with Godot, I definitely should try. Maybe I will switch to Godot. I even made a prediction in 10 years every RPG Maker developer will switch to Godot without trying it. I don't know. It was for a song. Long story. Long story. So we are 2 hours in, but it's getting late. So I think we will stop playing games for now. I will finish though what I'm talking. So I always love a good game design talk, to be honest. Let's get it here. Okay. I've been using RPG Maker since week 6 when I was 11-12, back in 2013. Oh, I think the year is the same with mine. I started to like in 2012, but when I was like 15, 16. My story was I downloaded a game. It was a kinky game. I downloaded the game. I played it because, oh yes, let's play games. And after I read the manual, the game had a manual for some reason, and said the engine by default uses a gold system, but the game doesn't have any money system in it. So I wonder, wait, what do you mean? There's an engine to create games? It exists? I was very obvious of everything at 15. Before I dreamed of making games, but I thought it as a very distant dream. But when I learned about you can make games with a relative ease, then, well, I got lost in all of that. I talked about my father. My father gave me a cracked version of RPG Maker. I thought he legally bought it, but no, he cracked a version of RPG Maker 2000. And I used that, and later switched to VXAce. And now, I'm staying on MZ. Also the best one to make games on the browser. And that's roughly my story. My first game, as every RPG Maker developer, was a game with me and my classmates, defeating an evil alien lord from space. Something like that. Not released on public, I'm sorry. Wait, I kinda have it there, but it's this game. Yes, I love having as a background my literal classroom. Yes. Oh, good times. The download is there, but it's in Italian and it's not worth it. How did you think games were made before that? I don't know, honestly. I was kind of oblivious on the ways of the world. Maybe I still am. And I just thought that the big companies just have very complex softwares and engineering to create games. I don't know, like they did with all the video game era. They had like to program every single pixel there. They had at least a team of 20 persons to program everything just to make a single mini game. I didn't think that at the time there were engines that made making games relatively easy. And I'm glad I started so early, because now I have some experience and I can say, no, this idea doesn't work. At least that's what I think. The best thing of RPG Maker for me is that by being able of making games with relative ease. Again, at the start, I made a lot of short games that I never published because they weren't really the best ones. Like up until this point, there's not a. Up until this point, the games were kinda eh. But that's the best part. You spam a lot of games. Not really spamming, actually, they were pretty long. But you make games with ease, and so the more you make, the more you learn. If you use the Unity or any other engine, you have more freedom, but as a solo developer, you don't specialize much on game design more than programming. In Unity, you will become more proficient on programming, maybe, I don't know, resource management, I don't know what you get most experience on Unity, but mostly programming. In RPG Maker, since you don't need programming for most of things, by default, you will get more time to program more games, and so get more experience on game design. That's at least what I feel proud of. And now I will continue using it for a different reason, because it's very convenient for a solo developer. Because for now, my ideas for making a game are not to make the best open world there is, but my philosophy is to make a game that's unique. I'm sorry to boast about myself, but for example, well, now I don't feel like boasting about myself. Rotating the game map, going to the past, editing the overlay, the health bar, just messing with the player, a puzzle about gates, a puzzle about the world map, a puzzle about bugs in the game. With the limitation of RPG Maker, I feel like I can focus my ideas on more specific points instead of having a wide array of choices, which is not really a positive thing all the time, but my ideas are usually of this realm of possibilities. So for now, I don't feel restricted by RPG Maker. In the future, maybe, but not for now. Also because I did pretty crazy stuff with RPG Maker for now. Like, rotating the entire tiles of the map, like clockwise 90 degrees. And now the map, it's seen from another point of view. Stuff like that. And I had, like, recently an idea about resizing a map dimension, but by cutting and pasting some pieces closer to the player. It's kind of hard to explain, even. Maybe a game for the future. So, first RPG Maker game was a series called Epic Adventures. The name already. Mine was called 2D Adventures. The adventure is there. And the sequel, of course, was 3D Adventure. Look, it's in 3D. This is a drawing I made in art class in the 3rd D. The class 3D. It's the class I was I was in. They were very bad and cheesy. Don't say very bad. They were probably pretty good for an 11-year-old first game. Well, yes. I think it's fine both ways. Both calling them good for that age and bad. Because good for that age, it's true, because making a game at that age is pretty commendable. On the other side, it's very important for a developer to look back on their games and say, wow, I improved. Better say I improved than, wow, I was shit. Because that's what I feel when I watch my old games. Wow, I was shit. No, wait, I improved. Yeah, that's the mentality. And that's what you usually want by going forward as a developer. You look forward and backward and say, wow, that was better than my old game, but I improved from that, for example. So both are actually right. I see user of RPG Maker trying to remove the RPG Maker part of RPG Maker. Well, that's a longer story, but that's my position too. My opinion is the best way to make an RPG Maker game is to not make it like RPG Maker. Not only for prejudice about it, which at this point it's pretty undisputed, but also for another thing. The art style of a game shows to the player the impact, the sort of game it is. For example, if you let's see if I can find an old version of it. I don't think so. For example, if you have a game and you want the player to click on it, well, apart from having a good title screen, if you want the player to download the game, you should use everything in your power. For example, if, well, this is intentionally bad, but for example, if a player sees this, or if the player sees like a screenshot of the sort, you can see not the difference, let alone the difference in the setting. You see the difference in the art style, and that's not only visually pleasing, but it's also an indicator of the game. Here, you don't know what sort of game you're going into if you don't look at the details around. Here, you kinda know with the colors and bright colors that this is a light game. It's not a dark game. It's not a game with complex story. It seems like a simple but light game. If you use default graphics, apart from having prejudice against you, you don't really show the player the theme of the entire game. You may show the theme of a single section, maybe. You can show the theme of the church here. Well, those are different art styles. You can show the theme of a forest, for example, but not the theme and the vibe of the entire game. Of course, if you make a game for free, it's not a problem. You have the default assets. You can make a game to improve, to challenge yourself, or showcase your idea, or just make a game for fun. No one prevents you from doing that, but if you step in the commercial territory, which it's a pretty hard step, I gotta say, you should consider every single detail. Again, everything is forgiven as long as you make a game for free. As long as you want people to pay, that's the hard spot you are entering in. For me, I like doing art and assets, so that's one of my favorite parts about game dev. I like how everyone has their favorite thing. And on the other side, that's a problem for solo developers. Unfortunately, that's a problem with solo developers, because it's a problem with me too, because I have a lot of ideas, I want to make a lot of games, but I don't have the ability to make all of them. For example, I'm commissioning people to draw the art style for my game because I cannot do art. So I invest money to do it, but it's also very, very hard to describe what you want, find the right artist, avoid scammers and everything of that. Becoming a solo developer is increasingly more difficult. So I don't know what I was trying to say. Yeah, I think it's a positive thing that every developer is specializing about something. For example, art and everything, programming, story writing. In my case, I love a lot the game design part and finding the main mechanic of the game. And also, I enjoy programming a lot. But if you ask me to do some art, well, to be honest, I tried. And it kind of, I can actually improvise some art, but again, I can only manage this style. So that means if I want to express another sort of vibe, any vibe different from the very playful one here, I cannot. So again, that's a limit of the creativity, and honestly, it's also time I would spend elsewhere, if not by drawing. So every developer, the hassle of being a solo developer is you have to do stuff you don't want to. The worst one now is marketing. The worst one is definitely marketing. With the quickest game of all time, it owns the fact it's an RPG Maker game with all its yummy default assets and doesn't try to hide it. No, it doesn't. You tried also in a very in a very well way to add it to the default assets here by, for example, adding a lot of blur effects or plugins to improve the movement animation, for example, and some interface in the menu and battle. I don't know about battle, I didn't check, but probably there was. Again, you can. I saw the love that was put in the project, even with default asset. So I'm not saying default asset is bad. I'm just saying that it's fine to use it on any sort of project for fun, but for commercial games, it's a waste of opportunity. You can make a good commercial game with it, but you lose a lot. You probably lose a lot of public, which could have been interested in the game if you had the right graphics. Again, I used a lot the basic RTPs. I still did. Where am I? I still did with my most recent game, and it's a blessing actually because I don't have the manpower to find new tileset for a gem of 4 days. So it's a blessing having a default style, but I feel like there should be moments where you need to consider if you to use them or not. I use them a lot, the basic art style, too much even at the start. Like I kinda stopped here, but I was using a DLC from RPG Maker from DS, which still maybe counts. So maybe I started right here. I don't know. That's a long time with basic assets. There's a lot of personal history with players wouldn't know. That's fine. It was made to be something discovered rather than found and go mainstream. Well, I think no solo developer should go mainstream because it's a lot of there's too much competition for the mainstream. That's why I'm really happy on the direction I chose because I cannot make every player happy. The best way is to make players who enjoy some sort of game happy. Because if I try to make an open world, roguelike, Dark Souls like, my competition is endless. I will never surface up to the games. An infinite amount of games get released every year on Steam, and there's no way you can compete with all of them to be the best. You can, maybe if you are very, very lucky with a lot of expertise and good experience, you can, but the safe bet is to push in the direction of the niche, the good niche. It's hard. It's still hard though. Though better probability. Making commercial games sounds so hard. Making free games fits me a lot more, I think. Yeah, I did free games up until now, but I wanted to try the next step. That's why I'm trying my best. And I wouldn't say it's expensive because I cut cost everywhere, but let's let's just say finding artists, good artists, it's not easy and neither cheap. I found pretty good ones with a decent price, but I could have been less lucky, let's say. And apart from that, there's just too much to do in any sort. The biggest problem is the marketing. If you don't do marketing, you release the game and no one will know about it, and you wasted like 3 years of your life to prepare a game which no one played. For now, I have like 200 wish lists, which are nothing, but I plan on do something. I don't know what. That's my plan is to come up with a plan. Probably when I start working, I will invest more money about it. I don't know. I will spend some money on marketing of any sort. For actual serious project, I have the Terraria mod of redemption, which I've been making. Oh, you're making a Terraria mod. That sounds pretty cool. Oh, even a wiki. Wow. Wait. Let me check. Let me see. Wow, that's a lot. I don't know if it's a lot or not because I don't really play a lot of Terraria mods. But there's a lot of seemingly cool wait. Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff here. That's a mini... it's a mini boss. Here. Those are mini bosses? Wow. Bosses? Okay. Looking kinda cool. Wow, that's the best part about game development and people overall. Everyone has their passion. I can see the passion here on everything here. Also because I don't think you can... no, you can't sell mods of the game. The best you can donate. You can ask for donations maybe, but you cannot sell the mods. So that's a pretty big act of... selfness and passion here. That's why the good side of RPG Maker is thriving, because there's a lot of good developers, not only RPG Maker, that want to do more games. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to do a commercial game because I want money, but because it's the chance to show the game to more people in the world. A commercial game has more probability to have success than a normal game, because it, in a way, separates from the amount of free games you can find online. It requires a pretty big step, because from going free to having a game that someone needs to log in, connect to a credit card and pay, requires a lot of step and determination that you need to work like tenfold harder to find the right players for. So it has a pretty big pro and cons, but again, paradoxically, has the potential to find more public. Again, my dream is not to make money, but to have a game that will find a lot of public, and mostly a lot of streamers that will play it. So I would love to... I always love when a streamer plays my game. When it happens, I'm like, oh, a streamer played my game! Let's take the potato chips, popcorn, and let's watch it! All the time. So maybe... I should... I don't know if I would be happy if the game become famous or not, because if it does, I would lose all my days to watch streamers play my game. So that's the con of selling a game a lot. I don't know. I still hope it happens. I can be more selective, but that's just dreaming though. Okay. I loved a lot talking about game development. We like burned 30 minutes here by talking. I should do more talking streams. Uh, the problem is then needs to be public because if I talk alone, then it becomes awkward. I can manage more of those though. Okay, so I think we can end the stream here. It's getting late here. So we only managed to play 3 games and all request one, but it's fine. I would love to play more requested games instead of just touching the surface of the start of other games of like 50 minutes. I can enjoy a game which is longer. Okay, we will continue playing next Wednesday at the same hour. Meanwhile, tomorrow we will continue and maybe finish the development of a side project. This one, Artisio the Vanishing Point. We will give the finishing touches and publish the demo of a side project that I stopped a time ago, but I can continue. Okay. And I will see which I can raid. Okay. I have hard time with criticism, but if my game blew up, I would still be fine. Fun. Well, any game has criticism. No game is free of criticism because no one likes no one likes everything, and not everyone likes everything. For example, if you give any of my games to, I don't know, a player of Call of Duty or anything else, they would say, this game is boring, it sucks. Which is a reasonable comparison to their favorite game, but it's wrong in the sort of objective way they said it. I would say, generally, a big step for a developer is starting to read and trying to understand the negative criticism. The next step is to understand if that criticism is reasonable or not. But without trying to understand criticism, it's impossible to, or very hard to improve as a developer. I kind of received a lot of criticism about my game, this one. Like, I have it there. We have the dreaded Nolan. The humor did not work, making the experience painful to have sit through. Which I kinda I kinda answered him, but I tried to be very calm, but still not my best answer. Which I understand because he didn't like the humor, and so I thought a lot if he was right or not, because other people liked it, and at the end, I feel like the humor is subjective and it's hard to please everyone, but that means people who doesn't like the humor will find it cringe. But even if I didn't agree with the negative review, I still tried to understand the point, and still realized that some of the jokes of the game were kinda not the best one I could make. I revisioned the game and the writing, and I realized a bunch of jokes just fell flat in general. So it was still helpful, even if I completely disagree with the review. So I suppose that every negative review, or a lot of negative reviews, even if you don't agree with them, can make you help understand some points of view. Even in traversal ways. For example, if someone in the review says, bad game, the plot is boring, or the jokes are not fun, it's still some sort of feedback. Makes you understand that this player thought the game and the story would be different. So maybe the premise you're making is not completely clear about the scope of the game. Maybe you should fix the premise to make it more clear the sort of the game this is, for example. Because again, if you make an horror game and you say, oh, that's a cute little game, you attract the wrong sort of people and they won't enjoy your game. Mostly. Oh, hi, Digital Nose. Hello. Compared to what? Oh, sorry, I lost the context. But welcome. We are talking about game development in general. Humor is impossible to pull off the way it works for everyone. Yeah, that's one of the negative points on the project, but at this point, I'm fine with it because again, I'm not trying to please everyone. At this point, I kind of learned it the hard way. Yeah, this negative review also helped with that because made me realize harder than I thought that not every game is for everyone. I kind of knew it before, but here it's more strong. Here it's even like a blunt force on my face. I realized it in the hard way, which is even stronger than I thought. So every bad review should be considered. Not taken literally, just considered. And see the truth in it, and the false. And the reasoning behind it, of course. I'm very happy with the effort I put in, even though maybe not everyone would like it. Yeah, that's the spirit. Because every game you make it for a reason. At the start, it's for you to show it to your friends. At some point, maybe you want to make a game for the big public. There is a rule or a method utilized in the big companies called the persona. So the persona is, apart from a game, is creating an imaginary person. You define a fake person as the perfect target of your game. So you think what this person likes, what's its job, what's its hobby, and why does it like the game we are making. And then get inspired by those personas and fine-tune the game based on the preferences of those fake people. This said, the target audience for my game is me. That's more. A lot of people would say that's wrong, but honestly, I like the reasoning because first, I know perfectly what my tastes are, so I will never do something wrong that I wouldn't ever like. Second, you can hope there are people similar to you who would enjoy what you like. So this is the cheapest way to make a persona and the most efficient one, not efficient one, the most, the one you can trust will work, even if not the best one for the general public. But again, this idea I think may work for solo developing because you don't have to please everyone, as I said. So as a tip, do games for yourself. That helps a lot. Both motivationally and both design-wise, maybe? I know a developer, Missing7, it's an example, which loves to make big RPGs and everything. Just today, it's the anniversary of one of his old games, and it's still relevant today. You may know it. It's here it is, Crimson Eclipse. Pretty popular in the RPG Maker community. It's the anniversary today. It's a very old game. He put a lot of love and effort into it. A bunch of years ago, he participated to a contest, to a game jam, and made Necroma, and become very popular. This game is very popular. Well, not as popular as I thought, but very popular. And so, if he completed the game, so from a game jam to a complete game, he probably would have made a lot of money. But he didn't. Why? Because he didn't like it's not his sort of game. The game is pretty cool, but for him, it's not his game, his sort of game. And that's something you need to consider. This game would have, from what he said, would have probably made a good amount of, I don't know if money or public. But the first thing you need to consider while making games as a solo developer is you need to have the right determination and do games for yourself first. First yourself, then the others. You come first, all the time. Later, with a team, you can afford to consider other people's. But as a solo developer, my best hint is think about yourself. I have experience with the criticism for my mod. I handle very, very well. Oh, I would argue that it's less intense, the criticism, because it works on an already defined game system. So mostly the criticism there is on probably design of bosses, which is still something significant actually, but it's criticizing something that is not the entire concept of the game. It's pretty bad, pretty worse if someone said everything sucks, like as I said, I lost it. Well, the guy from before did. Still though, it's a criticism nevertheless. I did a lot of marketing in high school and college. I'm familiar with the personas. Yeah, I studied it too on one course. I don't like the persona method though. I kinda dislike it. I don't see the point, to be honest. I don't get why it works. I don't care at this point. I just want to make games. I don't care about other personas, what other we think. I just make a game at this point. And that's it. It's just fun. I love how every time I participate to a jam or start a new project, everything ends up as I never expected it to be. Everything is different from the initial idea. And I love how every game looks. I have an infinite amount of ideas for making games. For example, those are the ideas for the games I have. Those are a lot. That's why I don't see myself stopping making games for a while. It's just too much content to cover. I just need to program more though. That's some work to do. That's a lot of work to do. Okay. Oh, it's getting midnight here. Okay, maybe could be the right moment to stop. But I should do more the game talk about game development. The problem is I need to find a moment with a good amount of people, because with comments it thrives, with chat. But we will end here. So let's see who's online and who to raid. So we got some people. Let's see. We got Megami Maju. We got Miss Blob. Let's go to Maju. Okay, yeah, I will remind you. Meanwhile, the raid is starting. Maju. The next Monday, it's planned a collab with Megami Maju. We didn't really talk through, but it's on Monday. And apparently, I'm gonna make Megami Maju play some of my games. And they're not the really chilliest games, so I'm gonna have some fun. So, if you wanna, can buy on Monday, around the same hour of today's stream, 1 hour early maybe, the 20 p.m. GAST. We are gonna make her play my games. And it will be fun for me. Okay, thanks a lot for coming by. So, again, tomorrow we will finish the development or fine-tuning of Artisio. And we see you whenever happens. Thanks again for coming.